Hi, my name is York, and I don't have a PNG tuber model right now because I'm in the middle of redesigning her, but today I wanted to talk about the post from the official Otome Instagram that shows off the new possible home screen and the journal feature for the new game or app that's coming out that I like to call Otome Wifebringer. And we're just going to kind of look at what we can see on the screen and speculate what the features are going to be like and just get a feel for the things to come in this app. And the first thing I noticed straight away, because it's the most glaring obvious difference, is that it's no longer in landscape mode, they're in portrait mode now. Which is very different to what we're used to. We're used to the past two games being in landscape mode. But they've decided to do portrait, and I don't know if it's because of what I said in the first video I posted when the game was announced, that they're taking some inspiration from Love and Deep Space. I don't want to say copying, because I have a feeling that this isn't going to be the same. I think it's inspired by, maybe heavily inspired by, but I don't think this is going to be a straight up copy. I will be so disappointed in Solmare if it is a straight up copy. But I actually highly doubt that it's going to be like a copy of Love and Deep Space. I think they've seen the features that work well for that game and they're taking them and putting their own spin on it, which is what I can at least hope for. And the second thing I noticed right off the bat, besides that it's in portrait mode, is that the models are brand new illustrations. It's hard for me to tell if these are going to be 2D models or if these are actually 3D models. If they're 2D models, they look really nice, they're really sleek, and I feel like they're probably going to have a bit more of a range of movement, like if they're being used in Live 2D, maybe they move a little bit more so that they kind of have a 3D element to them, but they're still like 2D in nature. And if they're 3D models, well then at least they look a whole lot better than the the ones from Wifebringer, because holy shit, they're so ugly. Every time I think about them, I like have to giggle because they're just horrendous. So if these are actually 3D models, then I'm happy with this because they look so much nicer than the originals. But I think these are going to be 2D models with a bit more range in movement. But they're definitely not the original 2D sprites. I can tell right away that these are completely different, and they look so much like, from what I can see, it's blurry, right? But they look so much cleaner than the 2D sprites, so I'm happy about that. They actually look really, really nice. Now we can see that everything is different. The original Otome and Otome Wifebringer, because we're so used to it being in landscape mode, we're so used to seeing all of these kind of apps, you know, these bright icons clumped together to the side of the character. And now we have this more like sleek design where it's just a few features to the side here and then these 3 buttons at the bottom. I think it's a lot nicer because the apps, even though, yeah, I get it's meant to look kind of like a phone, the apps are kind of garish and in your face. This is a little bit nicer. To me, at least. That's a personal opinion of mine. But hey, who knows? It could all be different by the time the game comes out, so... But so far, I actually kind of like the design of this. So if we take a look at the icons here, okay, so this first is 3 lines here. That's usually like settings, so that's probably what that is. That's not going to be anything special. This present and this envelope here, I'm assuming the envelope is like your mailbox, right? So that'll be all of the notices and things like that. The present, I would say that it's probably when you complete things and you get a reward. It might be like to be able to claim rewards or like your daily missions or something like that. But it could also be the gacha, because they are planning on adding gacha to the game. Because for the 3rd goal for the backing on Kickstarter and Soryosu, the 30 million yen goal, it says that we will get 100 free gacha pulls. So they're definitely adding gacha to the game. So I'm assuming that this is where the gacha is going to be held. If not, it might be weirdly Yeah, I don't know where else they would put it, actually. Yeah, I'm assuming this is going to be gacha, because I don't know where else they would logically put that. Although, a present icon seems kind of weird, though. I don't know, it could be anything. Like I said, I don't really know, I'm just speculating. But they are, like, adding gacha to the game, so we know that, at least. Okay, so if that's the gacha, or possibly to claim rewards, do daily missions, that kind of thing. And this is, like, the mailbox. And then here we have a clothes hanger, so this will be, I guess, similar to the Majolish. We'll be able to change his clothes. I don't know if it will also allow us to do what we normally are able to do in Majolish, which is change the background as well, and like change the background music and things like that. And also, there doesn't seem to be indications right now that you can swap between which demon is on your home screen, which I'm perfectly okay with. Like, if you have to choose one and just stick to it, I'm perfectly okay with that, because I have my favorite right here. So I'm okay with that. But I feel like if you are going to be able to change the demon on your home screen, it will either be through this clothes hanger here, like in Majolish. That's where you would change the one on your home screen. It would be in settings, which, I don't know, it makes more sense for it to be here, to be honest. Or if they're going like the Love and Deep Space route, it will be kind of here in this like chat feature here, and you can swap between them then. But I personally think they're probably going to stash it in here somewhere. Okay, and then we just have this little icon here, that's like the eyeball with a cross. That just means it's going to get rid of all of the stuff on the screen, all of the icons, the date, the text, probably, so we can take like screenshots of our boys after we've dressed them up. So that's those icons here, and then we see we have like the date and stuff up at the top here. Now the sun, this could be one of two things, because in one of the posts they said that this app will be able to track the weather. So I'm wondering if this sun here indicates the current weather. And like, you know, if it's going to rain, then it'll be like a rain cloud, you know, that kind of thing. Or if this just indicates the time of day, which it doesn't really make sense because, you know, it says AM right there. It'll say AM, PM, so we know what time of day it is. So I'm gonna assume that this is like the quick way to see what the weather is like for that day, which means obviously that the app is going to be tracking your location. And then there's like these chat bubbles here. Now I assume that these chat bubbles are going to bring us to a screen similar to Surprise Guest, where you can like pet them, touch them, give them gifts, you know, and possibly interact with them in other ways. Like, I know I keep linking it back to Love and Deep Space, and I probably shouldn't. But like there you can like hold their hand and stuff. I'm wondering if they're going to add something like that, or if it's just going to be like the Surprise Guest feature and they like chat to you for a little bit. Like I said, I can only speculate. But since this icon on the home screen here looks so similar to the previous ones on the home screen, where if you tapped it, you know, you would be taken to Surprise Guest twice a day, I think it allows. You know, once in the morning and once in the evening, possibly 3 times. One might be in the afternoon, I'm not sure. Then it probably takes us to like a Surprise Guest style screen. Which, I mean, yeah, if the whole point is that we're married to these demons, then we should be able to interact with them. Makes sense. Okay, and then we have, you know, the journal here at the bottom, which is another screenshot that they posted, so we'll go through that in a minute. Right now we're on the home screen, and then album. So album, I'm assuming that this is where our gacha pulls will be stored, like our card collection. That would make the most sense, because I don't see where else they would put it if they are doing gacha. It makes more sense for it to be like shoved into the album, right? And it might be similar to how Devilgram looks. The only other option I can think of what album could be, and this is purely based on the Kickstarter goals, is that this will have some kind of camera feature. Because for the 6th goal, the 66 million, it says they'll add a new camera function. And I'm assuming that would be kind of augmented reality, you know, where you can take a selfie and like this character's in the background or in front of you or whatever. that's what I would guess they mean by like camera function, or it's just like a way to take photos of them in general. That's the only other thing I can think of album being used for. But I'm gonna hazard a guess right now that it's where our cards will be stored after pulling them from the gacha. And then obviously just like the other little things, like, you know, we're in their bedrooms. I don't know if we'll be able to change the scenery. I assume we will be. I assume, like, you know, we'll be able to unlock more backgrounds through a story narrative or through events or something like that. So, and that will probably be stored like in this area here. And then their outfits, obviously this is like their bedtime attire. So, you know, Lucifer's wearing his gown. Maman has this tank top and the grey sweatpants, which is a deadly combination for some. And Levi, I don't know how the fuck you can sleep in a hoodie. That seems so uncomfortable. But you do you, I guess. I know you sleep in a bath, so maybe it's better for you to wear a hoodie. I don't know, you're fucking weird. But yeah, it is really interesting to see like this shift from the Otome we know to this kind of app now. It's very, very different. I'm not mad about it at all. It's just not what we're used to. But that's perfectly fine. And this is like the perfect opportunity for them to add any feature they want, basically, because it's such a clean slate compared to the other two games. Like, with Wifebringer, there was this expectation of it to be similar to the original Otome game. Probably because it looked so similar and it worked the same way. But for this game, or app, whatever you want to call it, it's entirely different. So we can expect the unexpected with this one, I think. And now we're going to talk about the journal screenshot. So it says up here, you'll receive news from Shadow News 999, and you can also leave memos about your daily life. So this is what the journal will potentially look like. Here we have the date up here, like the week, the calendar for the week. Daily news, it says scoop bringer there, which is kind of funny actually. Like a little picture here with the caption underneath, a calendar function, blog. I'm honestly not sure what this is. I'm 100% not certain what this is because it's very, very blurry. I can't read this at all. Like I can just about make out what this says. It says pillow fight 1, but the room is a mess, so I better clean the room before things get messy. Yeah, I have no idea what this is. I don't really even have a single idea what this might be. So yeah, the calendar up here, I'm assuming that's just like the quick calendar, right? And so that's so you can see what the week is. And I assume that you can add alarms and reminders and things like that for the calendar as well. You know, all kinds of trackers should be available for the calendar. The calendar function down here, I'm assuming this is like entering the calendar properly, so you can see like the calendar for the whole month, next month, etc, etc, instead of like just the quick calendar, which is like this, just the week. Now the picture here and this text box here, the daily news, I'm assuming that's what this is. And I reckon that this is going to be every single day we'll get a different picture with like a small caption. But I've noticed that it has like a little notification on the top here. I don't know if that's because there's more to this story. I want to believe, and this is just stretching, right? I don't know whether or not this will be implemented, but I want to believe that every day we'll get like a small, yeah, like a story, kind of similar to Devilgram, right? Probably not needing story keys or anything, and probably very, very short, but just like a little scene we can read through daily that like kind of connects with this caption here. That's what I want to believe anyway, because I think that would be like really, really interesting. You know, because it would, right now, the app is very bare bones. There's no indication on the home screen right now. Like I said, it's subject to change. But there's no indication on the home screen right now of a place where we will see a main story. It does say on the fourth goal for the Kickstarter that they will add a partially voiced main story. Main story is in quotes, featuring the devilish proposals and married life together. So there will possibly be a story. I don't know if a main story is already being implemented or if it's solely going to be implemented if we reach this goal. I assume it's going to be implemented though, and the voice acting is if we reach the goal. But right now on the main screen, there's no indication of where that main story will be held. So unless the main story is actually like through here, in which case that's also kind of what I was going for. Like, you know, we click on this little bit here and then we get like the next part of the story every single day. That could also work. But if not, then just having like a miniature thing we can read through each day would be better than nothing. Like I said, it's very bare bones right now. So I guess we'll see. We need to wait for more information, I guess. And then we have the blog here. I assume this is where we can use, it says leave memos and stuff. So this is potentially where we could leave memos or write about our day, like use it as an actual journal. But I suppose it could be other options as well. It could be more news stories. It could be where all the past daily news stories will be kind of archived and you can go back and look at them. That's potentially what the blog is for. It's really hard to judge just from, you know, blurry screenshots right now. I'm doing the best I can, just trying to speculate what's going on. And like I said, this, no fucking clue what this is. This is just a sad face. The only thing that I can think of this being, because it's so blurry, even if I zoom in, I cannot read that. The only thing I can think of this being is like when you have other apps, diary apps, that kind of thing, and you can kind of put a sticker there to show what your mood for the day is. That's the only thing that I can think of that being. I can't think of a single other reason for that, but who knows? Honestly, who the fuck knows? Not me. So yeah, I guess this is all the speculating I can do for now until they bring out some more screenshots for me to look at. But you know, let me know what you think some of these features could be. I've definitely missed some ideas about some of the options that I went through. Definitely. But yeah, let me know what you think these could be. Let me know your thoughts on the whole UI right now, because I personally kind of like it. I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of like it. But yep, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in whatever I make next.